Ebooks should not be returnable. Um, I recently was on a Facebook forum and a book club asked the question if ebooks should be returnable, and as a publisher and a writer, I can honestly say no. The main reason why I'm saying ebooks should not be returnable is not because it deprives me of royalties, but because the customer has to take some responsibility for the purchases that they make. The only two reasons why I feel an ebook should be returned, it should be whether there's a bad coding issue, which sometimes happens because I've had coding issues on some ebooks where fonts get messed up in between Microsoft Word or Adobe Acrobat or other softwares, and the converters at Smashwords or Amazon or Barnes and Noble, where all the where the file gets turned into really bad code. That's a reason. And the other reason is you made a mistake purchase, and you return it within the hour unread. However, if you read the ebook, you have to eat the cost of it. Other digital media such as MP3s, TV shows, and software programs are not returnable, and neither should ebooks be returnable because the neither the retailer or the author know what you have done with that file in the short time that it's been in your possession. You could have easily taken this file and made multiple copies, or you could have, if you really don't like this author, taken all their books and put it on a BitTorrent or a file sharing site to deprive them of royalties. An unlocked ebook, basically, you can make as many copies as you like for multiple devices, but the whole thing is that when you return that, it's basically robbing that author. It's a theft of service to that writer, depriving them of royalties, depriving them of revenue, and the whole thing is no one knows what you've done with this book. Nobody knows where you've taken it, where it's gone. I mean, basically, it's like robbery. I mean, I feel if you put the money down for a book and you don't get a chance to read it, yeah, you deserve a refund. But if you sat down and read the book or read part of the book, then you eat the cost of it. Um, I mean, I've heard people having issues with ebooks talking about, well, I didn't like it because I didn't like the story. Well, there's a by the scroll down to the bottom of the page or on the page, just there's the genre, there's the amount of pages, there because I've run into that too. People talking about it's only a two-page ebook. Well, you're supposed to read the information that was provided to you about the book. All the information is on the ebooks page. Well, the size of the file, the size of that, how many pages it has, how many words it has. Some of them even go down to not as many words. And then I've also run into people talking about, well, it's self-published. Well, guess what? You're supposed to read that on the web page of the book. And then there are those who complain that they didn't like the grammar or the spelling, or well, that's on you. You the customer, to have the onus of responsibility to find out what what this book is about. There's a sneak. Usually on most ebooks, they give you a free preview, and from that sample chapter, you can make an informed choice of whether you want to buy this book or not. There is no excuse for you to for anybody buying digital content to say after they've downloaded it to their e-reader or their cell phone or their iPad or whatever device, to say that I didn't like the book, so therefore I need a refund, or the book has typos and spelling errors, and I want a refund. That's part of the risk. Or the book is self-published, and I want a refund. Well, guess what? You had every opportunity to read about this book, to make that informed choice. There are review sites like Goodreads out there and Shelfari, and there are even reviews at the bottom of every page. I've gone to the iTunes bookstore, Barnes and Noble, Amazon. All of them have reviews, usually on the page that tells you whether this book has a problem, whether there are issues with this book, whether the writing is good, whether the writing is bad. You, the consumer, have a right, responsibility to read about something the same way you do about movies, about TV shows. I mean, before you spend your time, you're supposed to do your research. You cannot expect people, after you put the money down, to say, I want a refund, because you can't get a refund for a bad MP3 song. I mean, if you buy a bad MP3 song, that's tough. If you buy a bad TV show and you don't like it and you download it to your device, then you have to watch it. That's your digital copy. You paid for it. I mean, if you download some bad software that you don't like, you buy some software, download some software, then that's on you. You have to pay for it. You paid for it. You used it. That's it. You can't sit there and complain and say that, oh, the story is bad. He's right. He's not using grammar right. He's using TWO in place of TOO. Well, didn't you read the sample? I have to say to you, about a lot of these bad ebooks out there. A lot of people complaining that all these ebooks, some of these ebooks out here are bad, but that's just the way it is. And you're supposed to take the time, check it out, read that sample, and if you don't like what's in the sample, don't buy the book. I've sat down and read other people's ebooks with issues in them, and usually see them in that first 4 or 5 pages, whether I want to read it or buy it or not. And if the ebook is bad, and it's not my cup of tea, I don't hit the buy button. But you can't get buyer's remorse if you don't want to make an informed choice. If you don't want to take responsibility for your actions. Now, and that's what I've been running into a lot of, especially when it comes to African American fiction. A lot of people are complaining that the fiction is no good, that the stories are horrible. But why are you putting money down on it? You have all these options. That's what I don't get. I mean, Amazon.com is right there, and for you to sit there and say that these books are terrible, all he talks about are light-skinned women, all they're talking about is street lit, all they're talking about is the streets, all he's talking about is hoeing, you don't have to buy that. Stay away from that genre. There's millions of books out there. If you don't like that type of story, well, guess what? Find another type of story. But don't go out there, put the money down for a book, an ebook, and then say, I want to, then read like 40 or 50 pages of it, and then say, I want to return it. I'm sorry, you can't do that. Nobody knows what you've done with that digital content. You might have, I don't know what happened to it. With digital content, there really should be no returns. The buyer has to really take responsibility for the purchases that they make and decisions that they make to purchase something. That's all I have to say about this topic. Just comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you very much for taking time to watch my video.